Welcome, beloveds, to another episode of Ask Dr. Mumbi. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray, beloveds, that you're well, that you've done the necessary steps, and even if you haven't taken the necessary steps and adjusted your life accordingly to fit the situation at hand, I really do pray that you will start today to prepare, to stock up on food, on water, to become more self-sustainable and less reliant on the Babylon system, because the Babylon system is, going down. It's down. It's not even going down, but we're seeing a lot of craziness as it goes down. But those are definitely stories for other days. Definitely. Special shout out to our Patreon family. We appreciate, love you so much for supporting us on that platform, and for everyone who sends us a donation through PayPal and enables us to continue to bring you this awakening message, which has taken a turn. Now, a couple of months ago, or maybe it was a month or so, I can't remember. I did a show talking about how you chose your family, you chose your mama, you chose maybe your daddy, you chose the circumstances, you knew exactly the kind of life that you were coming into. And you chose to come anyway. And a lot of you emailed me and were like, how could I have chosen such a wicked family for myself? How could I have chosen to be molested, abused physically, emotionally, spiritually? Sorry, guys, it's like there's an eyelash in my eye. Okay. Okay. You've been put in so many precarious situations by your family, beloveds. And you just, a lot of you wrote me very pained, some extremely angry, saying that there was absolutely no way. And, even to say God chose your parents is even more crazy, or your parents, you just happen to, you happen to come into that. You just can't buy that. But there's a reason why you chose the particular bloodlines that you chose, beloveds. First of all, a lot of the chosen ones, you were coming from higher realities, and higher realities means higher mentality, beloveds. And so you just would not have survived if you had come into a perfectly cookie cutter life, cookie cutter family. You would not have survived these seasons and times, because there is some negativity. Because of the duality here, if you're too much on one side, either the negative or the positive, you won't make it. You have to have both the positive and negative. And that is what made it so tricky for many of the chosen ones who wanted to come into the game and help Mama Earth, help the universe to kind of reset, rebalance everything, and, kick out the demons. We almost had to take on a bit of that demonic signature and incorporate it into ourselves in order to even penetrate this realm, because the realm was so low. It was so mentally low, which means it's also so physically dense and low. And some of us are existing in the highest. We're the highest man and the highest woman. We are the Christed ones. Christed ones just means you have reached a certain level of consciousness, which is total balance. And that's where we're going back into. Definitely check out the video I did on the future language of Africa is telepathy, beloveds. That's how we were before, and that's what we're returning to. But in order for us to even penetrate this realm, we needed and survive. We needed those negative, if we can call it that, those demonic signatures. And then it was our job, because we're the forerunners, beloveds. It was then now our job to integrate that, to achieve that duality, and then to conquer that negative, or appease the negative, appease the dark, not fear it, not try and hide it under a carpet, but really balance it out, because everything has a role in this dualistic world. But like moths to flames, the negative really came for us, because obviously we're of the light, even with these signatures. But what the demonic negative signatures did is they made it harder, almost impossible to destroy us, because we weren't just pure light. And I also really believe, beloveds, this is what I got in my meditation, that a lot of us chose to come into these crazy negative families where literally we've been a target from the day we're born. Some of us Our parents may even have tried to abort us, beloveds, but we made it anyway. We've survived so much, it's just like exhausting, But we did it for future generations. We did it so we don't have to be in toxic relationships and have children out of toxic relationships, and so that our future generations will already have that signature, and it will just be higher. It will be like a DNA strand that they have, one of the signatures that they can use to. There's many uses for the negative, beloveds. It's now, it's been made like good and bad, positive and negative, but you have to integrate both of them. So that's another main reason that we did what we did, coming into these super toxic families, beloveds, is so that we could develop that inner over understanding and put it into our bloodline of what it means, because this is the only access, some of us, this is the only access we have to the demonic realm. We would never, because I told you, this is a special world, beloveds, where earth, air, fire, water, those are the ones that we know, all come through gates and experience life here, come through spiritual and mental gates, and then, get a physical body and experience life. So it is of utmost importance, beloveds, that, for some of us high signatures who were chosen to come at such a time as this, it was of utmost importance that we also got a first-hand experience of the negative side, and kind of, everything is a code, beloveds. Everything is a language. Even hate is a language. And those are things we would never, in our world, it doesn't even exist. It's something that's so strange. But not only was it important for us to experience it, absorb it, live it, feel it, but more critical than that, it was to balance it out and make sure that in the end, the good in us wins over the evil. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, Africa.
Welcome back, beloveds, to Ask Dr. Mumbi. My name is Dr. Mumbi Seraki. How you doing? How's everything going? Yeah. It's a bitter pill to swallow, beloveds. But you have to come to terms that you picked. You had a role to play in everything that happened to you. Maybe it wasn't supposed to go as far left as it did in some of our circumstances. But you chose that for a reason. You are not a victim. I know I don't want to sound like a preacher. You're not a victim, you're a victor. But really, you're not a victim of anything. And that's why you have to realize this is not, we've been taught to take life on such a personal level, instead of realizing that it's the spiritual world we should take on a personal level. But this physical world is a construct of our mind, our imagination, and the global group mind. And so it's not, you have to have a certain, I almost want to call it like a disconnection, but not really a disconnection, maybe an overstanding, an overconnection of what this world, to your story, to your narrative. Because some of us have been here hundreds of times, beloveds, and you're just living another narrative. You're just existing in another story, but you're here to help. You're here to make a difference. You're here to create the new. You're here to reestablish things. Each of us have multi-dimensional roles we're playing. It's not just even about being here physically, but even just being here energetically, and how we connect that to our own, beloved cosmic ancestors. There's so much. But basically, you have to start to make peace with the fact that you chose your family, you chose your circumstances, so that you could integrate that language which was alien. And it's almost like, okay, the way I would put it is, it's almost like you took, you got the flu of wickedness, and through that flu you develop an immunity against those others who are wicked, because now that wickedness has integrated, so you've developed an immunity for it. Whereas if you had come in and you'd never encountered any wicked or evil person, it would be a massive blind spot and you wouldn't have made it to this point. There's absolutely no way you'd have made it till now. You'd have been just such an easy target. But the negative experiences, especially those, early childhood, those ones from people that we really love, and even coming to the realization of what you've gone through, can be traumatic, beloveds, absolutely. But it was never meant to break you. It was meant to immunize you and prepare you for now, because everything has been about this moment and what happens from here on out. And you see, in that world, we had absolutely no control. So we could just be put through the ringer. And it's just like, especially the royal priesthood, we come in with a specific signature. And they've been looking for that signature all along. So they threw everything at you, but you're still here. You chose some experiences, you chose your family, but maybe it went even lefter than what you would have ever imagined. But you made it, you're still here, and you've got those signatures, and it's over now. And if it isn't over now, may I send you power all the way from the center of the world to break every chain of bondage over your mind first and in your life. There is an alternative way for you. But you see, the way to learn and integrate this lesson properly, beloveds, is to really overstand and see that. And the only way I ever found peace was to look at my story and make sense of it. Knowing that you chose that. Because you see, as a chosen one, you've always known you're here for a reason. You've always known you have an assignment. And so recognizing my assignment, that I was going to come up against Babylon and awaken our people and do all these things. As I said, many of our destinies are multi-level. Like there's multiple things we're doing. There's the small ones and then there's the great work. Anyway, that's a show for another day. But knowing that, beloveds, I would not have made it. Even with my little YouTube channel back in the day, the news one, I would never have made it if I hadn't developed a certain fearlessness because of the craziness of my life. And so once you start to recognize that, it's painful, beloveds, and it takes time to heal, absolutely. But once you start to recognize that and frame it in the right narrative for you, you'll understand and understand why certain people came into your life, why you chose your mother and your father, why you chose your siblings, why you chose that family, knowing the kind of siblings that were going to come into that family. Why, certain trauma experiences were allowed to happen by your spiritual team. Because seriously, if you're a chosen one, nothing just happens to you. And this has happened. The most important thing about this, beloveds, is it's happened so your children don't have to go through it ever again. They don't have to go through toxic families, and they don't have to go into the pit of hell, because you went to the pit of hell for them. You went to the pit of hell for future generations. That's why they call you a spiritual warrior. That's why they call you, one of the game breakers, beloveds, game changers. You are the game changer in your life and in your family. I mean, I was going to say game changer in your family, but you are the game changer in your life. And you see, now you've gotten all those codes and they will forever be a part of your DNA, but you'll never have to stoop so low. And if you were to have a child who's for your future children who are chosen ones, they'll be able to come with higher and higher codes, because they don't have to go so low, but they have that natural protection. They have that natural immunization, because the negative, or they already know all the information about the negative, so they can even just kick it out of their lives in their sleep. So you've done such a big service for future descendants. That's why I keep saying stand firm, protect your bloodline at such a time as this. It is so critical, beloveds. And make peace. Make peace with the craziness that you grew up with, the relationships that you felt broke you or almost broke you. They didn't break you. They actually gave you the greatest blessing ever, because you're stronger than you could ever have been if you just had a rosy life. And because we went through that, not only did it not allow us to fall asleep, but we have such an intimate understanding of Babylon that many of our peers don't have. And that gives us like a winning edge. Because just because we went to the pit of hell doesn't mean we stopped being angels, beloveds. Doesn't mean we stopped being gods and goddesses, beloveds. It's just that we couldn't access those dimensions of ourselves, but now we can. And we've gotten all the power, because you see, any power from any system is mental. So we got the keys to Babylon. We got the keys of the Babylon kingdom and to the Babylon kingdom. But Babylon only got the keys of our kingdom, but never to our kingdom. Tuko pamoja.